Please never do that again.
No.
Please never. Let's never do that again.
I'm leaving actually.
I think
35 degrees out there today.
I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Put that fans up as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got to turn it off because of sound.
Yeah, you got to turn off sound. And of course, it's just pointing at you anyway, mate. So it's all right, mate. You got yourself covered, right?
Yeah, just gonna say.
Yeah.
Brand new bunch down there.
Yeah.
How was it? Fucking hot.
The sound engineer was fine though, you'll be glad to know. He didn't sweat at all. He was absolutely
It
fine.
was cucumber.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant.
Absolutely fine.
That's what it comes on.
Right. Episode 2.
Is it episode 2 already?
Oh, I can't believe. I mean, should we just do a quick shout out to everyone who's watched all our episodes so far?
Yeah. Big shout out.
All the support. It's a big moment for us, episode 2.
It is a big moment. That's double the amount of episodes that most people get to.
That's it.
Frankly.
And if anyone's still here,
Yeah.
it'd be a surprise.
I'd be amazed. Frankly. Although the poll we did, we got some great results from that, didn't we?
Oh yeah? What, are you going to show them today,
At the end of this pod.
Right. Okay.
If everyone listens to this
Right.
and tells me something that we say in the last minute, I'll share the results of the pod.
Fair enough.
That's what I think we'll do.
Just skip to the last minute then, right? That's... You know, you
Next
can do
year's
that.
pod.
You can do it online. Oh, never mind.
It's a video thing.
It's a video thing.
Couldn't tell you. Stone Age.
So we're still the Generate Pod for now.
Yes, we are for now.
Welcome to the Generate Pod.
Indeed. For those who haven't joined us on the first one, I'm Roy.
You're Roy. Are you Roy? I thought you were Rick. No, you're Roy. Roy, sorry. Got it. I'll remember that next time. I'm Tom.
Tom.
Yeah.
And we are?
Should we say it together on 3?
Generate. Please never do that again.
No.
Please never. Let's never do that again.
I'm leaving actually.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, we're a Web3 and AI creative consultancy. Just
Yeah.
launched with a couple of interesting clients.
We have. And we're here, in case it's the first one, this is all about transparency, how we're building the business and the agency fit for the future, and specifically around generative and Web3 and all the exponential technologies, which are really exciting, and helping our clients and anyone listening along the way to hopefully educate, inform, and maybe even entertain a wee bit, because one of us is very funny. Do you know which one it is?
No.
Me either.
Okay.
Should we do a poll for that?
Do we have to do a poll for everything?
It's a thing now, isn't it?
Okay. if we're going to do a poll for everything, we should do a poll for whether you should wear that hat or not.
You haven't seen the hair, have you?
I mean,
There's not much of it anyway.
we might as well.
All right. Next episode, I'll guarantee, because this is a different day. We haven't just done them one after the other, haven't we? This is a completely different day. So what's happening?
You're wearing the hat again.
I'm wearing the hat again.
Ah, fucking hell.
It took me years to realise that, when you see TV shows, that they didn't come back and do them like every week. It's like, oh, they record them together.
Film back to back.
I didn't know that. I figured it out last week.
Nice.
Anyway,
on with the pod. Building in public.
Building in public.
Building in public. What are we talking about this week?
The tools, I think. So I think we're being transparent and open about how we're building the business, within reason, obviously. But the idea of Generate was to be lean, not to make mistakes, but to kind of be an agency for the future. Use a lean tool set. Use generative tools, so eat your own dog food, and tell our story as we go along, which I think people might find interesting.
Yeah. Minimum number of the best or most appropriate tools to run an agency in today's world.
Exactly.
And I guess in 6 months, we'll see if we made the right decision.
Right.
So we've just really gone with 4, haven't we?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
4 or 5 for now.
Yep.
So we've got Notion, Core Place, we're storing all our company documentation.
Yep.
We're going to run sales and marketing through it as well.
We are.
All of our leads, contacts, everything else for now. We've got Rose.com.
Yep. Quite new.
Which is a new AI spreadsheet platform.
Yep.
Which has integrations with ChatGPT and others, where I guess we're going to put all our financial stuff, P&L, cash flow, balance sheet, probably some other things. We can do some cool reporting in there as well, like LinkedIn, post reach, social post reach, stuff like that. So
That's really interesting, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite new. It's all around, and I think I was probably stalked by it. Pixel tracks.
Yeah.
Even these days, Meta, not Facebook.
Yeah.
And it looks really interesting. Looking forward to getting into that too.
Yeah.
Actually, I like new tools. I like Notion too, by the way. So we'd have a bit of I wouldn't say argument, TIFF maybe over Notion. I wasn't initially keen.
Yeah.
Tom was keen.
Then I wasn't keen.
Tom won.
Then I was keen.
Meritocracy, democracy, dictatorship, who knows what.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to trial these tools. I love Notion, it's very good, but it's, again, their AI tools are quite interesting too.
Yeah.
So I think what we're trying to do is doesn't have to have specifically AI on it, but as we go through them, most of them do. Yeah. I think that's the direction of travel anyway for large kind of SaaS businesses. And so that's useful for us to know and therefore to tell our clients about.
Exactly that. So, and both those, of course, have got templates you can use for efficiency and speed and everything else. So we've got Notion, Rose, we've got Pitch for presentations.
Yeah.
Which has been really, really good.
It's really simple.
And it's really simple, and we've picked a style. We've actually taken that style, reverse engineered it into our launch brand, again for speed. We had a little bit of a tiff over the website argument discussion.
That's 2.
You won that one, didn't you, actually? Yeah, so, yeah, okay. 1-1. We don't keep score, though. So Notion, Rose, Pitch.
Yeah.
What else?
What else are we using?
What else are we using?
All the tools themselves.
All the generative tools, right?
The
generative suite of tools.
Yeah.
There was something else, I'm sure, as well. Hold on. Can't remember. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Super lean.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just think that there's too much fluff and too much bump around in starting businesses, frankly.
Yeah.
Why not go lean? Right.
Yeah.
If we're going to talk about this and do it, let's use tools which are either AI flavored or generative in nature, including the creative tools. Because again, back to the origin story we chatted about last time. I mean, which I don't think I mentioned to you, but I think the G3NR8 name was initially a ChatGPT prompt. So I think it was literally cool names or stupid names or whatever you want to call it. Interesting names. And I had a few in there, and Generate was one of them. So actually, that is part of the story. So it did start there. So we're using those tools anyway. Everyone uses GPT, great. But of course, there are other tools, not just that, and we do use them as well in terms of some of the large language models and the more deeper kind of tech stuff we're looking at and working with clients. But for the business, I think it's fair to say, for our own marketing and for running the business, we're front and centre in generative, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to keep that lightweight, nimble agility as we grow.
Yeah.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
Don't get stuck as an agency as you get bigger.
Yeah.
How do we hold on to that? So, continuously looking at the minimum number of the right tools to do a great job.
Yeah, again,
and get people on board as they come in, and we've got nice workflows and processes so they can get on board and understand what's going on, and then add to it.
Yeah, I think so. And again, like I say, it's not necessarily a particular advantage or not, but it feels like the right thing to do. I mean, obviously, nimble and nimble is a good thing to do. But again, we're trying. I think what we're attempting to do is just to get rid of that bureaucracy as we move forward. To give ultimately, we're about spending more time with our clients, offering really brilliant services and not being bogged down in and charging, actually, frankly, for administration. Right, so we're passing that on to our clients. You're getting high value work, whether it's strategy or development or design or whatever it might be within those exponential technologies, and we're talking about it as as well, being open and transparent about it. So anything we know and we can learn that we can share, we try and do. Right, that's the idea, I guess.
Exactly. Okay,
cool.
That's the building public.
That's the building public.
Hey, your favourite bit of the show?
Bad AI.
Bad AI.
I love bad AI.
Yeah,
I do. It's fun. I mean, from the thousands of prompts we've probably worked on together and with some of our teams and the work we do, you get a lot of bad outputs. It's not always the inputs. And again, things are changing with the seeds, and you might have seen some of the mid-journey stuff coming in, and 5.2 released quite recently, this week.
Yep.
Some brilliant tools in that we can maybe talk about in a bit. But you don't always get brilliant results out of everything, out of GPT or out of mid-journey or stable or any other things, actually. One of the text to video. So I think there's a bit of a beauty in bad, because you know what it does. If you take the right mindset, it's a learning process. It's not like, are we allowed to swear on this pod?
Yeah. Well, I have about 5 times already.
Fuck for that. Sometimes I wasn't listening. Sometimes
you didn't, and it was weird for a while. Actually, I think that's the first time you have sworn. So, which was slightly unsettling. I
won't make that fucking mistake again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
What I was going to say was a fair percentage of prompts can often be a bit shit, but that's a starting point, isn't it? If you look at it as a creative tool, it is a starting point. It isn't always going. Sometimes you nail it first time, right? Sometimes if it's a piece of strategy or it's a blank piece of creative or even something with an ad campaign or whatever it might be, summarization.
Or if you've got, if you've spent time working out the best prompts to use, aka prompt training, and you have a little system in place that you're using, then you can kind of get to quite good results consistently. But if you're just randomly prompting,
it's variable.
It's variable.
Yeah, it is. We've seen that. So I think some people do get a bit frustrated with that because if you are doing that, I'm all over experimenting. That's how you learn, right? Definitely. But for businesses as well who need to move quickly and don't want to spend 6 or 9 months doing it, there are processes, and we've obviously got some that work really well. But again, I think is bad AI. But you can get bad results out of spending a lot of time on prompting, which happens too. But you definitely get it when you just muck around, and that can be quite fun. In fact, we have got a couple of tools or a couple of resources quickly we are working on. We'll talk about later in the next pod. So you have to listen in for that around bad AI. So we've got some kind of fun stuff coming up too, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Absolutely. Sorry. Go on then. We'll get the first one in bad AI up, which is the family of 5.
Family of 5.
So this was, I think, a prompt which was create an image of a family of 5 for me.
Right, family of 5. Okay, so that used to be the median, didn't it? That's quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
When I was
maybe not anymore, but
it was 1933 when I was 6 or so.
But he's gone slightly wrong, I'd say. Unless
I've not seen this one.
I don't know what the ages are around the world, but I mean, I think probably that's still.
When you're meant to be cancelled.
The better thing about this was just before we filmed this.
Within 3.
Roy was like, "So what's the point of this photo? What's the story behind it? I mean, there is no story behind it.
It's just funny.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
That's it.
Slash inappropriate.
Yeah, slash inappropriate. Yeah. That's it.
So that is. So what we can only imagine. Does it actually have draw a picture of family of 5?
I mean, it's done it. Tick.
It has done it.
Yeah.
So what's going on under the scenes here, Tom? What can we infer from this?
Actually, did you know what the link here is? Actually, the hallucinations, or when they call it hallucinations in the industry, right? Yeah. When AI makes stuff up, or stuff that we don't like, or we don't think is right.
Yeah.
Like if it's good, we might call it creativity.
Yeah.
The engineers call it hallucinations.
True.
But actually, interestingly, I was listening to Mark Andreessen on Lex Friedman, and he was saying he was in with a law firm recently, and he thought, they would want their models, their large language models, to be accurate 100% of the time. And actually what he said was, no, they don't. In cases, what they need is creativity, because they need to come up with new ways of positioning a case, or new ideas, new angles to come out at, and actually they wanted a lot of creativity in the prep, and then what they needed to do, which the lawyer didn't do, as we referred to on the last pod, who's in court now, is they then check all that information really thoroughly. So actually they want the hallucinations, they want the creativity in that front end bit, and then obviously before they actually use anything, they're gonna absolutely sense check this is right, or this is valid, or this fits in terms of narrative. So I thought that was quite interesting actually. So that okay, yes, it's a wrong image, but isn't it interesting because how many humans would have come up with that?
I hope not that many.
Some.
No one who listens to watch this pod, obviously they're all stand-up humans, but point taken.
Yeah, but not many.
That's an interesting point, isn't it? It's very wrong. But again, if you go back to Arthur C. Clarke, any sufficient technology author, 2001, any sufficient technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Yes.
Advanced technology. It is one way of looking at it. But these are not sentient.
Yeah.
This is ultimately, as far as we know, is ultimately large data sets.
Yes. Just trying to predict what's next.
Aping the human brain without going into the, we've got some great people on the team we're working with who really understand stuff, at a very deep level. But on the high level, we're the neural networks and the deep learning and machine learning, they're all basically aping the pathways in the human brain, per se. But it isn't sentient. It's just a pathway. So therefore, if the data models, the large language models are big enough, they're going to produce things which there's no filter. That's why you see images like that, which is wow. Okay, that's wrong, but it's like it's factually kind of correct, isn't it?
Yeah,
in a way,
it is.
So interesting. Bad AI,
wrong but correct.
Bad AI number one.
Yeah,
good.
And what was the other thing we were going to mention?
Bad AI 2 was
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn,
right?
It's not bad AI particularly, but it could be.
Not yet, but I think it will be.
Tell what's your argument for it being bad?
So this is what I saw this week was LinkedIn. I don't even know if it's live yet, but suggesting that when you create a post and they had it on a mobile device, you would have an AI button at the top of that, which would auto write the post for you. And I think it's bad because what we actually need is more thoughtful processes behind using these tools rather than mindless processes. And if you're in the mindset of getting a post out, well, are you going to thoroughly check what's been put out? And are you going to go off and check source? You're less likely to, surely. I don't know. To me, it seems like that's the path to more average noise and content, which isn't really where we want to be headed with this technology, right? We want more learning, more knowledge, more thought, more high value content rather than more noise. So to me, it fell into the bad AI category. What do you think?
Yeah. I think the counterpoint is, fucking that's handy. Now, I'm not sure I would use it in that way because ultimately, but again, sometimes the GPT and the other model, it can often surprise you. I've got 3 ideas. That's a bit. So will people be mindful? Let's go fucking boom. Most likely, and will bot farms take over? Is LinkedIn, which I've got a love-hate relationship with anyway, because there's lots of great content on it, but you've got to wait for a lot of old crap to get to it. I think net it's probably a bad idea. But the interesting point as well, I thought maybe on that one is, if I think I'm right in saying LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, right? So. And Microsoft are having a big play across their ecosystem for generative. So it's potentially part of that play, which is what we want to do is make generative AI ubiquitous, which suits our share price, suits our 50-year plan, and LinkedIn's part of that plan. So I think it may be part of that bigger play,
and it
probably
fits with where we're headed, where the AI technology is going to get more baked into products and platforms, right? 100%. It is. It's just, I think where we're at today, it works best when you think of it as a creative partner or a writing partner or a member of the marketing team, rather than something that's going to write for you. And that back and forth, that interplay, is actually what gets really, really good results. And the sort of just write post aspect, I think, will create noise.
Business idea.
What?
I just said those words. Business idea. What? No, I've got a plan.
Right.
Just made me think. Great idea for someone. Come and talk to us. A little bit like LinkedIn Helper. LinkedIn Helper, the one that automates, lead generation, like one of the tools for third-party tools for LinkedIn. There must be a bot for generated content and to take it off your feed. Right? There you go. If you haven't done that, talk to us. It's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and do that next week.
Nice.
No, I'm not, but it's not a bad idea. There you go. Business idea number 1. Already in number 2. Pod. That's your first business idea.
Excellent.
Do with it what you will, or talk to us. We're always open to new ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think that's LinkedIn auto-generate. What's it called? Yeah, I think I agree.
How to create more shitty posts.
It's a terrible idea, isn't it? But it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Because Microsoft and they own LinkedIn.
Okay. Topics. Let's talk about something else.
Topics. Okay. Yeah. Well, lots of interesting things happening, and the idea of the pod, of course, for everyone listening and watching, isn't to be the news source of latest things. There's lots of noise out there already, lots of very good places to go and get stuff. But things do come in. Obviously, we're on top of it, and we're trying to keep up to date like everyone else is. And we've got our own resources we use and the things that we research and use as well. But one of those big ones I can't ignore is ByteDance, who own TikTok, buying, I think it was something in the region of $1 billion worth of chips.
Quite a lot.
Which, that's a lot. And I think it's a lot more than some of the current kind of vendors have. Interestingly, because the US did bring in a law saying they couldn't export out to China and various places. But my understanding is that deal was done before that law was in place. And it is a balance of NVIDIA and Haley. I think I've got it wrong. There's two.
Okay.
But anyway, the move is interesting. Again, what that might mean for TikTok, don't know. It still might be banned in the US. Who knows where it's going at the moment?
Yeah.
It's still the colour in play. But I thought that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And what we're seeing with those moves, and maybe NVIDIA want to talk about as well, is the bump in share prices happening with it. Now we're in a kind of frothy market. I think it's fair to say, with generative and AI in particular. So you're going to see those 10, 15, 20% spikes. But I thought interesting nonetheless. What they do with it, don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought the size of the deal in terms of what potential they might do with it, I thought was fascinating.
It was big. Yeah. And NVIDIA as well, like you say, share price skyrocketed.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact numbers. I think it's about 170% up this year.
Right.
There was the CEO did a presentation recently and ran through some of their new stuff. But they were saying they're 1,000 times faster than they were 5 years ago. Some of their processing power and everything else. Where that gets to in the next 10 years, who knows? And interestingly, with NVIDIA, they were showing this model called real-time tracing, and basically they can create images or videos pretty much in real time now that are hyper realistic.
Okay.
And they can do that because for every pixel they create, AI creates 7 more. So you've got like this combination of their own engines and AI just working in tandem to create new stuff. So you think where that goes exponentially through video games, through TV shows, whatever content you're consuming, being able to be created on the fly as you're watching it, obviously leads into the whole virtual reality space as well.
Yesterday, weren't we, about that, about the old paradigm of going to game or whatever. I'm so old. Whatever you do these days.
HMV.
HMV. So working HMV. Dance music bar I was. Oh, I've got some stories.
Everyone always go to HMV.
I've got some stories. I'll tell you what.
That was what
Half price too, actually. I told them. So Unity.
Yeah.
They're doing some interesting stuff. Famous underlying engine for lots of 3D games and brilliant games. Again this week are making some big plays in AI around the game maker type scenario and marketplaces. So I think that talks into that as well, because that's going to happen. And my old game analogy was, you used to buy a little box of Super Mario Kart on it and brought it home, DVD, and I stream it now and stuff, of course. But what happens in a world where it's blank, it's infinite media? Like the brands are going to become more important. So Super Mario isn't levels, it's what you make of it. And your interoperable character may be indeed where it's going. So those sorts of things I think are fascinating. Certainly in that industry, but that will likely trickle down into our own personas and how we are perceived online as well as individuals, and how brands are perceived. So I think that's a fascinating space.
Well, and that crosses over to blockchain as well, right? Because the general thought is that, if you have digital assets on a blockchain that are then used in different areas, or the goal, the ultimate goal is that complete interoperability of, I buy something digital in a game and I can use it in these other areas that I'm in, social, work, whatever else, and it can be transferred seamlessly. And so one of those crossover areas are potentially AI and blockchain that we'll see in the future.
Yeah, I think it's a big one.
Yeah.
I've got one more for you.
Go on. You're on fire today.
What? I wasn't asked this. I was. Would you take a the famous Stanford Computer Science 507, I think it's called, class, if it was run by an AI? Or maybe it's Harvard. Sorry, I got it wrong. Sorry, Stanford. One of the two.
Well, that's the only place I could take it.
Yeah, because it's coming in September.
Yeah.
I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't see much backlash either.
I didn't know that. So Stanford are running.
It might be Harvard. Sorry, it's one of the two.
Harvard.
Yeah.
Computer.
CS, I think CS 507, which is the one that that lots of startups have done.
Entirely by an AI or partially by an AI?
I think it's partial.
Okay.
But interesting nonetheless, right? So they're leaning right into it. So I love this. We saw a great website, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago, called the Pessimist Archive.
Yeah.
Which goes back into all the technology mania of the last 200 years. Not printing press, that's a bit old, obviously, but bicycles, a telephone, typewriters.
Photographs.
You used to have to have a license to use a typewriter because they were afraid that the written word was going away.
Yeah.
So you're in that kind of space again, where everything's just a little bit crazy at the moment.
Yeah.
But interestingly, that hasn't hit that, maybe because there's so much noise and so much news coming out, but I thought it was fascinating. I think it is direction of travel. Obviously, you've seen, Udemy's and Coursera's and all the kind of Mavens and all the kind of online courses doing that anyway. But I thought that the brand of a trust I think it's Stanford actually.
Yeah,
one of the big ones is really interesting to see. Because if they do it, that's going to trickle very quickly into education, which hopefully leads us into a better, let's not get political, better education system where these things are being taught at a younger age.
Yeah.
Which I think is a big thing, for kind of sovereign AI moving forward.
Yeah.
So,
well, we saw a couple of innovative schools, didn't we, where loads of schools banned ChatGPT straight off the bat, bit like when Pocket Calculators came out, which was what we were looking at the other day.
Yeah.
But, handful of forward-thinking schools said, instead of banning it, I'll tell you what we'll do. As a group, we'll all write the essay using ChatGPT, and you can all take it away, and you've got to find the holes in the essay.
Yeah.
Find out what you changed. What did it do well? What didn't it do well? Where did it fall down? And so I think, that quick transition we're seeing with some early trailblazers in education is going to trickle through pretty quickly, because much like Pocket Calculators, when you realise everybody's got one at home, you can't ban it, right?
Yeah,
you've got to work with it.
Got to move into it, incorporate it as part of your work.
Yeah.
Like I say, but that's the thing about, I think you mentioned earlier, that it can be seen as if you look at the positive side, it's a co-pilot or an assistant or a helper.
Yeah.
That's in my view that when it's the optimists, the rational, optimistic view of AI.
Yeah.
It's that. It's
use it properly,
augment.
learn more, increase your knowledge, increase your ideas, and increase your outputs. That's the whole thing. That's what us going into companies is all about, right?
Yeah.
Don't just use this stuff mindlessly.
Yeah, of course.
Use it to actually upskill yourself. Take yourself further than you would have gone without it.
Yeah.
That's the whole approach.
As long as we can show them some bad AI,
Always.
that's really important.
Always.
Sending naked pictures of me, is that too much? Depends on when you're listening, I suppose.
Yeah, your AI profile pictures, fall into the catfish category, actually. Yeah.
If anyone would like... No, we'll cut it there. That's probably... If anyone would like... I really don't.
Right, but wrap it up.
What else we got? Someone behind the camera signalling.
Yeah.
Literally. That's the universal signal for wrapping up.
That's it.
I can see.
I think that's episode 2 done, right?
Episode 2 done.
Anything else?
Well, just to say, thanks everyone for watching and listening. There is a poll coming at some point. Keep on watching for it.
There's always a poll.
There's a poll coming.
Yeah.
Enjoy doing the pod. Hopefully people are finding it interesting, engaging, informing, slightly humorous. They'll obviously prefer one of the podcasts than the other. That's obvious.
We'll do a poll.
Yeah. And what else do we need to say? So we're doing lots of interesting stuff with our clients. How can people get in touch?
Well, go to the website, generate.com, sort of 3 and an 8. Follow us on social media. We got webinars coming up and we got events coming up. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Right, nice.
Cheers. That's the pod.
Peace out.
There you go.